Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I'd like to ask you all a simple question. How many of you drank a glass of water today? Now keep your hand up if you didn't have to think about where it came from. Because most of us don't. We simply turn on a tap and fetch our water in a cup. Simple, right? Well, for millions of people within Chennai itself, that is the first challenge of the day, finding drinking water. And perhaps hardest challenge of their day. And that made me wonder, what if the true measure of a developed country is not based on how tall its buildings are, or how large its economy is, or how new its technology is? What if it's simply defined by how easily everyone can access clean water? I've always been fascinated by economics. Because whenever someone talks about development, they mention infrastructure, investment, GDP. But when I learned about economic growth, I noticed something. It was that countries become wealthier, but they still haven't ensured that everyone has equal access to water. Right? And that made me curious. What if water is the most important resource for a human being, then why isn't it considered the greatest indicator of development if everyone has equal access to water? I was born and I lived in Canada for almost 10 years. There, I rarely thought about water because rivers and lakes were clean and even tap water was safe to drink. But then, when I moved to Chennai, I noticed something. It was visible and obvious. I saw rivers like Kuam and Arayar struggling in pollution. I saw families rationing every drop of water they had. I saw people drinking untreated groundwater as a standard. And then I came to this conclusion. Maybe in Chennai, water distribution works more like a business rather than the delivery of a universal good. I saw that rich people, got to live comfortably with water. But poor people, they still pay the same taxes as rich people. But they get less. And in a matter of fact, we actually pay more water in terms of, we actually pay more money in terms of water than rich people because for poor people, Bisleri cans and government tanker deliveries is probably more expensive than being connected to an underground pipeline, right? Water isn't just another resource. It is the foundation of development itself. It's the foundation of school, of education, and opportunity. Rivers and water has shaped civilizations, all civilizations in history. Ancient societies grew in river banks because water meant survival, and it still does. It's still the most important resource. But as humanity grew, we built canals, and then wells, and then pipelines. But we became so incredible at bringing water to us, we didn't ensure that everyone had equal access to water. And that kept me thinking. Because one day something happened that made this issue feel very personal. The maid who comes to help me at home doesn't come at the same time every day. At first, I just assumed that it was traffic or family responsibilities. But later on, I realized the truth. It was because the water supply that comes to her home changed time every day. So if it came late, then she left late. If it came early, then she has to wake up before sunrise. And that stayed with me because something that I had been taking for granted all my life had controlled someone else's entire day. And then I noticed something important. It's not about how much water a place has. It's about how we manage it, protect it, and share it. Because we often think development is about wider highways or larger airports or faster technology. And that all matters. But then, can we call ourselves truly developed if people spend hours every week just trying to make sure that their whole family can have clean water? Because I'm going to repeat that water isn't just an environmental issue. is the foundation of development itself. Why is it that people talk about autobahns with no speed limit for so much time when almost no one knows the fact that 40% of all illness treated by the government hospitals, we celebrate 63,000 crore worth metro project, which is impressive, but we still don't look back at the fact that people collectively in whole of Chennai pay 1.5 crores almost every day just so that they can get tanker deliveries and Bisleri cans because they can't afford or trust municipal water. Why aren't we shocked or concerned that a person living below middle class in Chennai uses almost 70 to 100 liters less water than a person living below middle class in Singapore per day? Are we investing smartly? We often admire countries for the tallest buildings, fastest trains, or newest technology. But did we ever look behind the skyscrapers and look at something as simple as how they manage water? Because we still have to admire such a fundamental process too, right? Now take Singapore. Singapore captures rainwater, recycles wastewater, and desalinates seawater. They didn't succeed because they had more water. They succeeded because they managed every drop with the same value. Sometimes it's not about having more resources. It's about treating every resource and using every resource wisely. Take Chennai. 13 million people call this place home. But millions of people are still drinking untreated groundwater and depending on tanker deliveries and are rationing every single drop of water they have. They're still doing it. Now we still have rivers that are polluted with sewage, chemicals, and industrial waste. The very rivers that our civilizations once bloomed in. The very rivers which hold the reason why we're standing here today. Now, water, I'm going to repeat myself again. Water isn't just another environmental issue because it is a human right. Now, what can students like us do? We don't have to start by building pipelines or making campaigns. We can start by using water more wisely. We can stop polluting lakes or rivers. Or we can speak up when we see pollution. And we can support rainwater harvesting. Because big changes start with millions of small actions. Now, take two children. One child wakes up, he fills his bottle with water, and he goes to school. It's simple. But another child, he's up at 5 a.m. carrying liters of water in buckets and pots, bringing water home, just making sure that all his family members can have 1 glass of water every day. They both have intelligence. They both have dreams. They both have talent. But one already starts the day at a disadvantage. This is not just a water problem. This is a development problem. Because development doesn't start with concrete. It starts with dignity. It starts with opportunity. It starts with everyone having clean water. How come so many people don't have water in their homes? I'm going to repeat myself. It starts with the first drop of water. Thank you.